Wagwan, my loves, it's Knowledge Butterfly. As always, sending you guys out peace, blessings, love, and abundance. Let me just say that today I have really nurtured on myself and nurtured on my little niece. Um, and, just felt that type of nurturing energy, nurtured on my, my hair, nurtured on my crystals, just all kind of things, like just being very nurturing, very kind to myself, and just feeling that type of energy. And let me tell you something, like I'm really enjoying this Virgo season. And Leo, I was feeling myself. I'm pretty sure a lot of us were. We're letting our light shine, doing things that we probably didn't do, expressing ourselves in different ways. But this Virgo season, I have really been cracking fucking codes, like the code cracker, like the hermit. So going inside of myself and kind of like organizing things, like things that I really liking that I'm doing or for myself, like the positive affirmations. I can see the difference in those. Those are the things that I am cataloging in the save file to hold on to that routine and that habit, because that's a very healthy habit to speak positive things about myself and positive things to others, and even people who quote unquote wronged you, being able to wish them well and not wish any ill will, because that's when you're cursing yourself as well. But the law of attraction is, forgiving. That's why forgiveness is so important. So you forgive yourself, you learn that you can also forgive others, because you no longer hold on to your shit, and you realize that was done through humanity and not in your divine mind. You know what I'm saying? So you learn to let those things go. So now in this Virgo stage, I'm doing a really good job, pat myself on the back of purging things that no longer serve me. But I'm noticing that there's a lot more things I want to hold on to, good habits that I have implemented. But so this video was about me actually in this Virgo season cracking codes. I was listening to a new Chris Brown and Drake song called No Guidance, and I was just getting into it. The first time I really heard it, I think I had heard it before, but the first time I really listened to it was this past Sunday at my sister's house, and all of the ladies were dancing and on the floor getting it and everything. And so today, on my Venus day, where I'm nurturing myself, and it's also in cardology, it's actually my Uranus day or Uranus day. And so that day is thinking outside of the box. That thing is, being very changeable, meaning being open to changing my perspective on things. So I also have Venus in there, so that love energy, so loving, being more, I should say more in alignment with loving the information that I'm reading. So only getting into things that I really love and only doing things that I really love, but doing it in a very nurturing way to myself and to others. And so as I was, listening to this song, because it was nurturing me, and I started thinking, this is like the new type of love song type of shit. Like we always talk about the old love songs when the men really sung to the women, and that is needed. However, it needs to be in a format that's fitting for the time that we're in. So like listening to that song, I was like, and pulling up the words, like I'm still probably gonna post it on Instagram. However, listening to the words and reading the words, I was like, there's some really like sweet ass shit that is stroking that divine feminine energy. And that's something I heard universal frequencies talking about. The divine masculine has to step up and actually start paying homage and stuff like that, and respecting the divine feminine energy in themselves, because it starts with yourself, knowing that we're all, both. We're yin and yang. However, it's figuring out what's your factor of yin and what's your factor of yang. Like, what is your balance, basically? Are you being really true and authentic to yourself? Are you not denying your divine feminine and that shows in the way that you treat women? You know what I'm saying? So you're very disrespectful to women, and especially women that might look like your mother, if you're angry with your mother. You know what I'm saying? So that's psychology, and I won't get into all of that, but that's basically why it's important to show love and appreciation and respect to the divine feminine energy in yourself and outside of yourself. And that song does a really good job in doing so. And so as I was listening to this song, y'all, it took me to another level, all right, a deeper level, and then I wanted to like pull their cards. So doing a quick divination pull, and some of them have 3 cards, some of them have 2 cards. So the people that I'm talking about, of course, is Chris Brown and Drake, because when the video on Vivo, when that video was published, was on July the 26th, 2018. So July 26th was, guess what, Leo season. So Leo season's when, spotlight on you, shining. It's a great time to actually like put yourself out there and be your authentic self. And I was looking at and Leo is also about the heart chakra. So thinking about the heart chakra, it makes sense that is a song about a woman, because that's going to catch on really quickly. I actually was going to Google and see like where it is on the charts. Let's see. Before I get into the natal reading and the cards. No guidance. Excuse me, I'm really like focusing. Okay. Let me pull up this article. It came out August the 1st, 2019. And this is just talking about this Leo season. It says, this is the article, and I quote, Chris Brown nets his fastest rise to #1 on Rhythmic Sounds chart with no guidance, featuring Drake. All right. So I'm going to tell you why this shit is a motherfucking moneymaker, and why Chris Brown is the motherfucking magician, and why Drake is the motherfucking emperor. And I'm going to curse. I'm just going to, it is who I am. If I feel I want to curse, because I feel like that's honestly not curse words. That's a way of clearing out your chakras. And shout out to Dr. Elimo Bay, because he talked about how saying shit like shh, how that is, taking pressure off of certain organs in your body. And right now it's not coming to mind which one. I almost feel like it's the kidneys. However, right now I can't 100% guarantee that it's the kidneys. However, it might be the kidneys. And so saying curse words actually allows you to release negative energy and transmute that shit, you know what I'm saying, into something positive, because you've raised the vibration that is coming out of, if it's coming from a place of excitement like me right now. But that's a whole nother story, guys. So yeah, that's the article. Chris Brown nets his fastest rise to #1 on Rhythmic Sounds chart with no guidance, featuring Drake. So fastest, Chris Brown scores his 10th #1, number 10, and I'm gonna tell you why that's important for Chris Brown. Scores his 10th #1 Billboard's Rhythmic Songs Airplay chart as No Guidance, featuring Drake, lists 4-1 on the list, dated August the 3rd. The single soars with a 21% swell in plays in the weekend ending July 25th, according to Nielsen Music, and secures the chart's weekly Greatest Gainer award. Now, dear loves, okay, I've done a Drake energy reading before. You can check that video out, because I had this green shirt on. I was in my love and my Venus mode, and so I was like really connected to that Venus energy, and so I was connecting to his card a lot more. But it's actually going deeper when I want to talk about the connection between Chris Brown, Drake, and Rihanna. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it now. All right, so I just told you about that. We know that let me start with Chris Brown. All right, so Chris Brown, let me go to his natal chart. He was born on May the 5th, 1989. May the 5th, 1989. So being born on the 5th, the 5th month of the 5th day of May, basically. He's a Taurus. No, he's he's a Taurus. I'm right, a Taurus. I had to think about that, because I've been dating a Taurus, and he's May the 7th. So Chris Brown is May 5th, all right? So Taurus are very, to me, they're the earthiest sign when it comes to being truly grounded energy, because the Taurus is governed by Venus, and Venus is the planet of love and physical possessions and physical beauty and really just the things that you love. So it can be the food you love, on a very mundane level, but on a spiritual level, it could be the things that makes your soul happy. So that's the things that you love, which is bliss. You know what I'm saying? That type of state. So, with Chris Brown being in Taurus, he definitely, when he loves something he really loves, and he definitely is in love with material things, like the Venus, what the two eyes can see. However, I feel like, he's very in alignment with his cards, and to me, that's very spiritual, all right? So, he is a Leo ascendant, all right? So even though he's a Taurus sun, he's a Leo ascendant, and that has to do with the heart chakra. And you can definitely see he has a love for what he does, and he showcases that. And on the outside of him, he looks like he really loves himself, right? He looks like he really loves himself, and that he loves the person that he is, or at least he's trying to love the person that he is, because the Leo deals with the heart chakra. Leo also is ruled by the sun, so of course you want to shine and be out in the spotlight, and that actually matches Drake, because Drake has a Leo ascendant as well, and so they both have that same similar type of energy because it's in their first house. Leo is in their first house, even though Drake is a Scorpio, and Chris Brown is an earth sign. He's Taurus, all right? So another thing that I noticed about Chris Brown is that his cardology card is the Ace of Spades, and this is a spiritual initiation. This is when you get inducted into the land of spirit, and definitely being in that industry, he has to have some consciousness of how this shit works. So he is playing this motherfucking right here, and because you can see the growth in him. I mean, he still has some leftover hurt and things, of course, that he has to move through, because we all have things we have to heal, that inner child. However, this to me reminds me of the Magician card of a lot. The Ace of Spades. It's like the spiritual initiation. You know nothing. You are no one. You are no thing. In a something, in a body. You know what I'm saying? This is what this feels like. That type of energy. And I say the Magician, and then guess what his tarot card is? So he was born May 5th, 1989. His birthday totals up to the number 10. 10 is a deity number. So he has two cards, tarot birth cards. All right. One is Wheel of Fortune. So when you think about his fortune, how he has his ups and his downs, because it's changeable. It's very changeable energy. All right. And because he was born in the 5th month, on the 5th day, that's the double energy of the number 5. So that right there magnifies him being very changeable in the way that he reacts to things. So that it shows you the side of him where he lost control with Rihanna, and then you have the side of him that makes a song called No Guidance. You know what I'm saying? And so it just goes to show you how we all go through different cycles. And so if you don't deal with your shadow shit, the thing about you, that's your moon sign, if you don't deal with that, then it's gonna come out in the physical world in a very destructive manner, which is what happened to him in the past. All right. So his moon is in his 10th house, is in Taurus. So he literally has his sun in Taurus and his moon in Taurus. So he's a Taurus. All right. And his ascendant is Leo. Taurus, Leo. So, earth, and fire. So he's very fiery personality. That's why, again, he could come off being very destructive with his actions, because fire signs are about that action. All right. And one other thing I wanted to point out is that in his 11th house, when it deals with social media and how people see him, how he is in large groups, so to me that's like being on stage. He has Venus in that house. So having Venus in that house, he does love large groups and being seen, and that social media and all that stuff like that. He loves that type of vibe and that energy, because Venus is in that house. All right. And his Mercury is also in that house, so he is comfortable with expressing his stuff in large groups, hence him being a singer, an entertainer. But there was one thing that I also noticed with the houses. So the first house is that's the house that you have to get right first. That's who you are. That's your unique self. That's that energy that only you have. Now, I know that natal charts are much more complex to this, but I'm just breaking out my new understanding of the houses. So definitely who you truly are yourself. And the moon is right here on my left side, shining so bright, like it's you know, half of it because it's waxing, so it's going into full moon. And when it's going into new moon, it's waning. You know, it's starting to wane down, or the light is starting to dim, but waxing isn't growing. Anywho's, so getting back to Chris Brown, beautiful moon. Getting back to Chris Brown and getting back to natal chart, excuse me. The first house is your true authentic self. It's really the way that you express yourself when you're being the most authentic. So he expresses himself more as a Leo from the heart when he's being really authentic, when he's showing that he really cares. Second house is about what you value. It's what you value in and the people around you. So the energies that you value. Do you value money over love? Do you value possessions over people? Like, what is your true value? Like, what do you put a value on? And he has Virgo in that house, so having Virgo in that house means that he does value order, detail, organization, and things of that nature. He also values people that are that way, and he attracts people that are that way because that is a part of something that's very strong in him, having some type of organization with his possessions. I bet you his shoe closet is immaculate. All right. Third house in Libra, that's balanced with his friendships and relationships. So he normally comes off as the balance with his close friends. Like, he can really help them get their life in order. And the people who normally do that normally have the hardest time getting their shit in order. Fourth house is in Virgo. So Virgo is that hidden energy. It deals with death, rebirth. It deals with sex and all those types of things. So he definitely likes to, you know what, I wasn't going to get this far into his natal chart, y'all. I'm gonna stop with this house. So he grew up in a house where his mother came off as being very emotional, and probably had turbulent relationships because the dark side of Scorpio is you live in that darkness. You live in your shadow. You live in that darkness. You don't express it always very well, but you live in it, so you attract it. Like, living in it means your environment on the inside is it. Therefore, on the outside, it could be turbulent. You know what I'm saying? And it's a very stingy. So if you're not finding the balance, and when you actually need to go ahead and like go, you know, speak your mind on something, like it may, because I look at the stinging somebody as being like the tongue. You can sting people with your words. So sometimes you have to speak your mind. You just have to learn the balance on how not to be as hurtful, but you still got to be honest. But I'm going to actually stop on a note. And I talked about his cards a little. The Wheel of Fortune, so it's changeable. And then he has the Magician. And the Magician means that, you know, this nigga can create. He has all four of the suits. He has the Pentacles, which is the Earth. All right, that Venus energy. He has the Cups, you know, which is water, like it's like that Cancer energy. He has or Scorpio, whatever. He has the Sword, and that has to deal with your mental state. That's the air. And then he also has the Wand, and the wand, it looks like a phallus, and it has to do with fire. So, you know, with it looking like a phallus, and the sword is also like a phallus, something you're going to cut, you already know that has to do with the masculine type energy. The Pentacles and the Cups, so getting to the money and this Earth, Gaia, or whatever you want to call her, is that feminine energy. The Pentacles, and then the Cups is the water. So again, the woman is the cup. The woman is the Holy Grail, like that area that's sacred, because it's where the babies are, where life is implanted, and where life grows. So it's just showing that he can tap into any of those elements whenever he wants to. I really started to get deep into this card because it just started coming to me, y'all. So let me go ahead and get into, now that I finished up with my boy Chris Brown, I'm going to talk about connection a little bit with Drake. Like I said before, Drake is also a Leo ascendant, so they both have that wanting to shine, like letting their personality shine, letting their authentic self shine. Like, that's why Drake don't have a problem making a fool out of himself, and neither does Chris Brown. Like, they both can joke and laugh, because Leos are very, very can be very, very silly and just, you know, funny. Like, they can be really cool ass people like that, but they also can come off very fixed, because it is a fixed sign, so you can come off a little stubborn sometimes. Anywho's, his second house is also a his second house is also Virgo, so their pattern is pretty similar, you know, the way that it falls. All right, that Leo ascendant, and then they have the Virgo being the next house or whatever. So their patterns are also very, very similar. Let me see where Drake's Venus. I think his Venus was in Scorpio, and yeah, his Venus is in Scorpio, and that's in his third house, so in relationships. That's why his emotions be so fucking watery and everything, because that's how his emotions come off, you know, with that type of energy. And that's why he can do love songs so well. On top of the fact that he has the Jack of Hearts, and that's the Christ card. You come off as the savior, like you want to come out here and save these women, and he does that through the music he sings, and raps or whatever. So he utilizes that. He comes off as that type. That's the energy he gives off to people, like his close friends, and like the women that he gets involved with or whatever. And then his tarot card is the Emperor. As you notice, I'm not spending a lot of time on Drake because I've done his reading before. So he's the Emperor, and the Emperor, I told you, is the master builder. All right, he is the absolute master builder. He has a ball in his hand, one hand, his left hand, and then on his right hand he has this like kind of like this staff, and the staff almost looks like a cross with a circle. So he has that circle, and then it looks like a sword, but the circle on the handle, and then the long part of the sword or whatever, and it looks like a T. You know, it looks like a cross, and it also looks like, you know, the circle or the sun, you know, the being whole, the God part of you, the divinity. And then the cross is, you know, representing man, being in the box, the four sides, the four elements, the four seasons, you know, those types of things. And then, you know, he has also some Taurus energy here, because to me, no, that's a ram. He has the ram energy here. So I'm about to go to Taurus. But no, it still can have a little bit of Taurus energy here, because I still can kind of see both of them in this, even though it's a ram. I still can see Taurus energy. You know, I can see that grounded earth energy in him, because he has a lot of red on, you know. And then he has the orange in the back, so showing that he has the creative aspect, which is the feminine principle, and that's Drake. He has that creative aspect to know something that is going to be a hit. He intuitively know what works for himself, because he is connected to being his authentic self, and being that Leo, that childlike energy, like how he can just make fun of himself in that video, No Guidance. Like he literally was making fun of himself. Anything else? And his moon is in Cancer. His moon is in Cancer, and his 11th house is Cancer. So 11th house has to deal with the type of the main group, his main audience, social media and all those things is women. Women love Drake. Women love his music. So again, him, that Jack of Hearts energy, catering to that woman, that heart right there. He wears it. It'll appear like he wears his heart on his sleeve, because he allows his deepest like insecurities to come out on his albums, and that's that Scorpio energy, right? Which is his sun sign. His sun is in Scorpio. So he shines a light a lot of times on those really emotional issues, and that's why it works for him. That's why he has the formula. I'm telling you, this is code cracking, right? I'm code cracking, y'all, with 3 different divinities: astrology, cardology, and these tarot cards. All right. Anything else I want to point out? His midheaven is in Taurus. So that's getting to the money. That's grounding, that grounding energy. So Chris Brown has a Taurus. What else he had a Taurus? He had something Taurus. Oh, I remember. Chris Brown had the Taurus energy because he had the Taurus energy in his 10th house. So that's also getting to the money. So then both their midheaven, that 10th house for both of them is in Taurus. All right. Yeah, on the Taurus side of the 10th house. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point out is, I talked about his Mercury. His Mercury is in his 3rd house, which is his communication. So he can communicate very well with others. You know what I'm saying? On a one-on-one basis, he can communicate really well. And that's probably why, you know, women, you know, love him. Because his communication comes off like he's talking to a singular woman. You know what I'm saying? And that's powerful as fuck, right? Even though he writing this song and he got this one particular woman on his mind, every woman listening to that song is thinking about, you know, like he's singing to them. So that's what I want to talk about with his Mercury. All right. And when I'm talking about, I'm talking about Drake. This is Drake's Mercury. So he's coming off with that water. You know what I'm saying? Speaking to that feminine energy, and that's why his formula works so well. His format works so freaking well. And then the last person I wanted to get into was Riri. So let me I think I went back to Chris Brown because I want to see. Oh, his Mercury is in his 11th house, talking to large groups, and I'm talking about that, so he's good. All right, let's get into Rihanna. So Riri, all right, she has a Pisces sun, all right, and that's that Neptune energy, dealing with addiction and all of those things like that. They say, you know, the Capricorn has to do with the addiction. To me, the way that Capricorn has to deal with addiction is different than Neptune. For me, Capricorn is because you have a lack of discipline. So you're vibrating on the negative end. So you need to activate more Capricorn inside of yourself in order for you to be more disciplined and have that Saturnian control over addiction. You know what I'm saying? That is how I see Saturn and Capricorn with it. But Neptune, like how somebody say they drink like a fish, it has to deal with literally drinking like a fish because you caught up in illusions in your mind. You can't break through this illusion that we're in this cycle. Like, you're really fucked up. Like, it really fucks you up in your mind, so you try to numb your own brain from thinking about those things. Because, you know, Mercury also has to deal with your mind. And her Mercury is in Aquarius in the 11th house. You know what I'm saying? So with her Mercury being in the 11th house, just like Chris Brown, their communications in large groups are very, very well. So they're reaching large audiences. It makes a whole lot of sense. Okay. And Mercury was in retrograde. So that's why it makes sense for her to actually speak what she really thinks and try not to hold back on stuff. That's why she be so real, come off as so real. Her communication, because her Mercury was in retrograde, and it was in retrograde in her 11th house. So she was able to utilize that as a positive medium and becoming a quote unquote superstar. All right. And her sun is in her 12th house, which is why she can come off as a little bit, you know, mysterious. Like the 12th house is mysterious. She can come off as mysterious, and her 12th house is in Pisces. So all of that makes a whole lot of sense as to why the prisons that she has herself stuck in her mind, like sometimes with addictions and things like that, and that's addictive relationships as well. All of those types of things in her subconscious mind, those curses she needs to break, and she tries to do that through her music. All right. And her ascendant is Aries, so that's why she can come off as being kind of masculine sometimes in her relationships. So she can be very, very fucking aggressive, that fire, and want to lead in the relationship because Aries starts that shit off. And also one of her cards will tell you a little bit also why she comes off as being, you know, ruler over all things, and that's one of her tarot cards. I'm going to talk about that shortly. Oh, and I didn't say when Drake was born. Drake was born October the 24th, 1986. Rihanna was born on 2/20, I think 1989, I think. But I'm going to confirm that in a second. So anywho, like I said, she's Pisces, and she's early on Pisces. So actually she has a little bit of Capricorn energy because she's on the cusp of Aquarius energy, because she's on the cusp of when Aquarius ends and Pisces begins. So to me, that gives you changeable energy when you're on the cusp, because you can change between both of those. And that literally just came to me. And because I'm also on the cusp, Scorpio and then Sagittarius, I have that changeable energy along with other factors, like that Sagittarius is very changeable because it's a mutable sign, my sun sign. Anywho, that's me. Going back to Rihanna, her Cancer is in her 4th house, so that's why her mother and her relationship with her mother is so strong and so loving. Like, she loves her mama. And that 4th house definitely tells you that her household came off as being very about her mother, and you know, the love being surrounded around her mother being the heart of the house, heart of home, and the focus of the home. All right. And then her Saturn is in her 10th house, and her 10th house is in Capricorn. So she's also another earth sign, 10th house, which is making shit happen. But she also has discipline in getting shit done. And that's why she can have that changeable energy, but she still can make shit happen in her career. She can come up with all these different things, like being into beauty and all of those things of that nature. All right. So she can be a singer, but still have beauty products. And her Venus is in her first house. And that's your house of appearances, how you look and how you come off to people. And so, of course, she comes off as a very beautiful energy. All right. Very beautiful energy on the outside. She's beautiful. All right. And all that just makes sense to me. All right. Just like her eyes and all that, all because her Venus is in that first house. Now, anything else I want to point out as far as connections with them? So her card here is a 5 of diamonds. We know that Chris Brown was born on 5/5, so he has very strong 5 energy. 5 of diamonds is also going to have that similar energy because they're very changeable. Because of the number 5, their values change as well. So they can want something 1 minute and not want it the next minute. They can come off as very restless, and they love travel and all those things. Like, they love to be out and about. So her and Chris Brown have similar energy and a similar connection because she's a 5 of diamonds card. All right. And her birthday number adds up to the number 21. And when you reduce it to one number, it's 3. So her first card is the World card. And that's why this ties into Saturn. And this ties into her 10th house. And that's why the world belongs to this woman. That's why she's such a big fucking deal. That's why she is able to do what she does and captivate audiences and do all these different avenues and make money, because she has the 4 corners of the world on lock, nigga. She has her balance. She has that Saturn energy to make that shit happen, and she passed the test. This also means she's fulfilled things. She's constantly fulfilling things. She's constantly completing things. So even though she has the changeable energy with the 5 of diamonds, she was able to ground it because of she has the world in her hand. She has that Capricorn in her 10th house to get things done. All right. This is going to be quick because I'm winding down. And then the Empress. This is her other card. This is her real souls card. And so this is the energy. She comes off as the Empress. She comes off as a very beautiful vixen. Some people may say vixen, or some people may say, just like magnetic. You know what I'm saying? And by vixen, I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean just being like the type of woman that any man would want. Like, she comes off as a siren, as, looking like this woman sitting on her throne, and the men are coming to her, begging at her feet. This is the type of energy she gives off. All right. And the Empress is Venus, of course. You see Venus there. So she has a lot of that Venus energy in her. So she has the balance. She has that Mars ascendant, but she has the Venus energy because her birth card is a Venus card. All right. And then she has the crown of the 12 stars, that the 12 disciplines, being able to rein those things in. So in her highest self, she got this, But yes, I really feel like that's all I wanted to add. I mean, she has some other interesting things, like her Pluto being in Scorpio, and that's her 8th house. So that's the Pluto is the planet of transformation, and Pluto rules Scorpio. So her Pluto is in the house of the sign, or it's in the same house it rules and the sign that it rules. So that energy, and it's retrograde. So she is very transformational on the inside and changing herself and being adaptable to herself, and that also helps you be true to yourself, because you don't get stuck in a rut. Being that Capricorn in her 10th house, work wise, she gets things done, but that's why she plays and really enjoys her life, because she does have the Pluto that's ruling that sex and all those things like that. So she does want to have a good time, and you know what I'm saying, and sex can be fun, with the right person. So right mindset. But anywho's, her Lilith is in Leo like mine, but hers is in Leo in the 5th house. So the Lilith and Leo, and then that 5th house being about your creativity, and your creativity is also has to deal with relationships, and as well children and all those things of that nature. But that house is mainly very playful and very creative. So having Lilith retrograde in that 5th house and in Leo is about the sun shining and you having that dark part. Your Lilith is that part of you that you don't always express to people, and so she probably wants like that light shining on her. She wants the man to kind of give her that attention or whatever, but she don't always express that she wants that attention. But she don't really have to, because it shows, because she's always changing the way she looks. Her looks are even changeable. 5 of diamonds. She changes like any melanated woman. We change hairstyles, but damn, Rihanna, she changes hair colors, everything. She be a whole nother woman all the time, all right? So the DMX challenge, she could definitely kill that motherfucker. So like I said, she comes off as very changeable. That's also having Venus in her 5th house too. So she wants people to notice that. She wants people to notice that she is, different and she's fun and all those things. She may come off as unbothered, however, with that Venus in that 1st house, she does, she does want people to notice a little bit. But I'm going to end the video on that note because it's winding down. I just want to talk about these people and like how they kind of connect with one another, how their energies are similar, and definitely Chris Brown and Rihanna, that 5-5 energy, and then those Leo ascendants with Drake and Chris Brown, their energy, and they also got Taurus in their 10th house. Just real similar shit. So I'm going to end the video on that note, y'all. Like I said, this is cracking the codes, y'all. Cracking the codes. All the stuff I've been reading about is starting to make sense with me just looking at somebody's natal chart and pulling up some damn cards and not having to research and see what these cards are really about, but just giving you the gist and how that energy works with these people. So I'm going to end the video on this note, guys. I really appreciate you guys for watching it. If you watch it all the way to the end, I really appreciate you. If you like this video and the information on my channel, please go ahead and like that. Like it. So hit the like button. Also, you can subscribe, because in the video I have the subscribe button on there, as well as I have information about my social medias. So you can see my 2 Instagrams, one for this channel, Knowledge Butterfly, and then the other is for my my business, Heal Soul, y'all. Has to do with healing. Also, like I said, getting very heavy into numerology and the cards. So eventually, like what I'm seeing, visioning, is a whole like makeup based upon all of those things. So I'm really getting to see how people's energy works, because I know their natal chart, because I know their divination cards, the tarot cards, and their destiny cards, because I understand and know their life path numbers, or all of their core numbers. So their 5 core numbers and their number things. So the things, I haven't done that video yet, but I have done the 5 core numbers. So go ahead and check that out before I record the video about your different things. I'm going to get into that soon. However, I kind of just been channeling that and letting that, soaking that in, because when I communicate that one is more about I look at it like the 5 core numbers are the numbers that make up the energy you incarnated in here with. So that's the energy that stays with you, and you're vibrating either on the higher frequency of that number or the lower frequency. It's like the Matrix, cracking another code. So hold on, y'all, before I end. It's like the Matrix, how when you look at the screen, they have all the numbers on there, but their numbers are actually representing quote unquote people. All right. And those numbers are because we are all numbers technically. That's why your jobs can treat you like a motherfucking number and not a quote unquote individual. Okay. However, even though we are those numbers have attributes and characteristics to them, and they mean something. They tell you about that person's energy that they incarnated with. So your 5 core numbers, starting with your life path number, I really feel like that's that first number, because that's telling you your path. That's really telling you the type of energy that you're meant to raise yourself up to in order to complete your task. Like mine is the number 8. That's money, power, and success. That's being the boss. You know what I'm saying? Which goes in line with my 7 of hearts, which is being a business mogul. So it makes a whole lot of sense with those 2 numbers going together. So that's my life path number. Your next number is your destiny path number. That's the 2nd number, all right? And that number is, once you hit that first number, you automatically start following your destiny because you're following your life path. So now your destiny makes sense. And so now you're following that. Your third number is your soul urge number. That's the number that makes your soul sing. So my destiny path is a 5, and that's very changeable energy. And my soul path number is a 3, and that's very creative energy. All right. That's very expanding energy. That's like, the reason why it's very creative is that's because that's like the mother and the father coming together and making a baby. That's creative. All right. So my soul just really desires to create. And then the fourth number is going to be your maturity number. And your maturity number is the number that when you reach the midlife crisis, your mid time of your life, so your 40s, that's that number that you are supposed to be striving to achieve by the time you're in your middle age, because that's when it gets really activated in you. That's when you really come into your wisdom, and you just like, so that's when you're supposed to come into your wisdom, and that's your fourth number. And then your fifth number, like I said, you can watch this video, I won't get into all the details, but then the fifth number is your birth number, and that's the day that you were born on. So I was born on the 26th, so I have the vibrations of the 2 and the 6, and then I also have the vibration of the number 8, which is the singular of that number. And so that's the highs and the lows. So you have to figure out what you're high in and what you're low in. And you can know that because that number will describe the types of shit that you be going through all the time, whether it be high or low. All right. So when you start to get an understanding of that, oh my gosh, it blows your mind. I just had to express that. And so that's the type of stuff that Heal Soul is going to be doing. Really getting to the nitty gritty of that and building a profile, because that also helps you when you're dealing with holistic, because I'm not just dealing with your physical issues. I'm honestly dealing with your emotional issues. And when I say dealing, it's connecting with that and giving you the recipe, the formula, the code for yourself, so that you can start to vibrate on the higher version of yourself. Because that's also telling you which chakras are in balance based upon what vibration, if it's a high vibration or low vibration, blah, blah, blah. Meaning which emotions are you currently experiencing? Are you experiencing a higher side of an emotion or the lower side of the emotion? And that's the number that you're expressing. All right, then you get into the things, and the theme, which will come later after I really get the first part down, but the things will be about your personal year numbers, cardology, what your cards are for the year, and whatever planets and how that ties in with what you need to be doing in the present, in the here and the now, and your solar return chart. So what you're supposed to be doing in the here and now to get everything together for yourself, meaning to be flowing with the universe or your universe perfectly in a high vibration, so that you're able to speed up your Taurus field, which is and that's also like speeding up your auric field, and you're able to attract a higher vibration of people, a higher vibration of situations, a higher vibration of yourself. All right, that's what all that information will give you. So that's Heal Soul in a nutshell. I talked way more about it than I planned on it, but breaking down my numbers, you guys can get why all of these things really work together and how all of it's oneness. And then that also Heal Soul gets into what types of herbs you should be taking based upon your sun sign, your moon sign, and your ascendant sign. So you'll know, what herbs will best serve you to keep you vibrating much higher and to help you cleanse out negative energy in yourself, so you can start eating properly, thinking properly. Because when your physical diet changes, you start cleansing your mind. That's what happened to me when I started going through things. My mental was so toxic that I had made my body toxic, so my body was not happy with me, and I was experiencing a lot of emotional issues on all of that. So my path really had to be dealing with my emotions in order to overcome everything. So now I know certain herbs and things that I can, like teas I can drink and of that nature or whatever, incense to light. I know different symbols to utilize in order to activate the cells I need to activate within myself so that I can upgrade my vibration. And that is what my Virgo shit has been on, guys. You see, I'm just flowing. But so yeah, that's Heal Soul in a nutshell. Those are the types of things that, you know, that I'm getting into, and I should say that we are getting into, because I already see the universe connected me to my community of people, or community of sisters, and we doing this type of stuff together, and we really building and all those things. I can see myself owning a building and for Heal Soul, and having, you know, women who are healers in there, that type of energy, and then also have the divine masculine energy in there as well, so it can have that balance, you know, at times. So not just being centered on the woman, because now it's time to come together and merge both of those things together. Like I said, shout out Universal Frequencies, because he talked about that as well. But that's the message that's coming in from the ancestors and from spirit world. So once we start to get our divine feminine and masculine balance, we'll be able to attract that balance on the outside of us as well, one, and two, we'll start seeing more reflections of that on the outside in the form of a man or a woman. And so that's really what, to me, all of this is about, like finding a balance. And that's what Heal Soul is about, finding a balance in your chakras, finding a balance in yourself. So that was a quick ad about you know, Heal Soul. So you can get more information, get a free consultation with me. You can email me. I have my email address for that at the bottom of my description as well. And then I also have my donations for my channel, guys. So you can CashApp me, or you can PayPal me, yeah. And so I have that information down there as well, so you can support my channel. You know, support is definitely something that I am working on with myself, because I feel like, you know, as in the melanated community, we have to get back to supporting one another. That doesn't mean you don't ever go out there and buy something because it's another quote-unquote race. What it means is that you do give melanated people the opportunity to be entrepreneurs and to build and to have small businesses and grow into something else, because when you do that, you're actually planting seeds into yourself, and then that's the type of energy that comes back out to you. That's the type of energy you start magnetizing. You start magnetizing people that are helping you grow, because you're helping others grow and you're feeding and putting into that. That's why all these corporations are growing and got so big, because we all started putting our energy and resources into that and telling people about it and all these things, and gave them word of mouth. So now there are these huge companies, and if we would do the same thing for one another, then guess where all of us would be? We'd be in a much better place, and we will be, you know, controlling a lot more things. But that's a whole nother subject, guys. So yeah, go ahead and support my channel, and go ahead and hit me up on my Holistic Energy Alchemist Gmail account. I just told you what it is, for Heal Soul. And go ahead and like and subscribe and do any other things that move your spirit, your energy, guys. Like I said, this was cracking the code, and then it turned into a little bit more. So I appreciate you guys for watching to the end, because I almost spent an hour.